What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Funboxing with Will. I'm your host, Will, with H2O Co. Film and Photo, and today we're going to be doing another EDC review on a classic pocket knife gentleman's carry by Benchmade called the Tengu Flipper. So let's get into that review, guys. Alrighty, just before we get into the top-down setup and take a closer look at this Tengu Flipper by Benchmade, I wanted to take a moment out as always and just thank all of my subscribers or anyone who's just come to stop and check out this video. I really appreciate you guys. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and I just recently hit over 1,000 subscribers, so your views, your comments, your likes, your shares, they mean a lot. And if EDC reviews, knife reviews, or tech reviews are your thing, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications to get notified when I put out new videos. I try to get one out every week, but it seems to be lately that I'm putting them out every 2 weeks. I'm going to try to get back on that weekly schedule. And other than that, guys, we're going to go over and take a better look at this knife. We're going to do a top-down setup and check out the Tengu Flipper by Benchmade. So let's go check it out. Alrighty, guys, well, now that we're over here at the top-down setup, we can take a closer look at this knife by Benchmade, the gentleman's carry Tengu Flipper. Now, admittedly, this is not a knife that I would generally carry on me. As a collector and as somebody who carries multiple knives daily and uses them, I've found that, I guess, everybody's journey is different. And when I first started collecting knives, I wasn't initially trying to be a collector. Initially, I was just trying to find the perfect knife for me. And however, through that journey, I found that a lot of the knives that I wanted or that I sought after because of things like, reviews that I had seen on certain knives, or sometimes even just based off the popularity of a certain knife, I would go and I would buy it. And then quickly I would find out that this is not something that suits my personal preferences. And once I had enough of those, I think that's when I really started my collection going, because I didn't want to get rid of them because they were still good knives. And they still each have their own place, and times that they could be useful. And then some were just, purchases because I knew I wanted this for my collection once I got to that point. But I think that for those of us who actually carry and use our knives, we all have our rotations and all that. But there's also some of those knives in everybody's collection that we know we really don't carry because it doesn't suit us well. And this knife was one of the first, 10 or 15 that I purchased. I did not end up liking this knife as much as I thought I would. There were some things about it that just for me personally didn't go well with my needs. And it doesn't mean that it's not a great knife. It's just there are some things about it that I don't really find suited to me. So this is definitely something that I love having in my collection, and it's something that if I ever had, to me this is more of a classy carry, so if I ever had like a wedding to go to or something of that nature, this would definitely be one of the first things that I would pull out of the drawer to put in my pocket. But it's not, like I said, something that I would carry on an everyday grounds. I just wouldn't do that because it's not my style. And I didn't realize this until after I had purchased it and many other knives that fall into that same category. So that being said, it still is a good knife, though. There are a lot of greats about this knife. First off, it is, the materials-wise, it is got some really awesome G10 here that they've gotten this pattern that almost looks like a wood grain into it. It's very minimal hardware. There's only there's 2 back pins right here, and then there's the pivot hardware, and then there's 1 pin on this side that is hidden on this and does not go through. The design is pretty cool. I like the shadow boxing here, and then the pin stripe on the back spacer. I think that just adds kind of a classy look to it. And this is going to be a liner lock flipper with a Tonto blade. It comes with this really nice little piece of leather sheathing here that Benchmade sends out for you that I keep it in, and it's pretty cool little sheath. Pretty well made. So getting into the materials here, this is going to be 20 CV steel, which if you're a collector or a user, you know that right now, basically, it's been the top dog steel out there. That it's very close in chemical composition to M390. So M390 and 20 CV, they're both basically the same steel. One is just made by a company out of the States, and one is made by an American-made company called CPM or Crucible. So it's been the top dog steel for a while now, and just recently, as of recently, I've noticed that Magna Cut is kind of starting to take gain on it and kind of take over and fill its position more and more lately. But it's still, I mean, it's a great steel for edge retention, corrosion resistance is pretty good, and it is tough as nails. This design, like I said, is something I would consider to be a lot more of a classy gentleman's carry. Yet, funny enough, I still think this is a pretty hard use knife. Nothing too extreme, something that you'd want to throw like a Recon 1 at or anything like that. But, excuse me, due to the blade shape, and just the strength of everything, due to the blade shape being a Tonto with a 95% flat grind leading up to a swedge, it tends to get fairly thick fairly quick, and it's not what I would consider a slicey blade, and that is one of the reasons I don't carry it with me every day. I generally prefer my EDCs to be in the slicier side of things. And then, so measurements-wise, we're going to go ahead and give you some measurements here. It's not a large knife at all. It is what I would consider small to medium-sized knife. I have what I would call a large glove hand, and I can get a full 4-finger purchase on this knife with no problems, except for that the flipper tab kind of digs into my finger a little bit. Not so much so as to create a hot spot, but I can definitely feel it there. And then it basically hits the end of my hand. It barely fits in there. And so if you have a smaller or medium-sized hand, I'm sure that that would not be an issue for you. The measurements, this is going to come in at overall measurement here, just over 6.5 inches at 6.6 inches there, for an overall length with a cutting edge of 2.95 inches and a handle length of, let's see, the handle is going to be 3.7 inches on the handle. So, like I said, it's not going to be the biggest knife ever. Here it is next to the Benchmade bug out for size reference. Here it is next to the Rat 1. Here it is next to the Rat 2. So definitely a much smaller knife than the Rat 2. Here it is next to the Doug Hogue Ritter, or you can replace that with the Benchmade Griptilian. They are the exact same knife, essentially. And then here it is next to the Para 3. Now, these are all fairly common EDC knives. And so that should give you some kind of idea of just how small this knife is. I think that it's not just about the length of the whole overall knife. It has a lot to do with the fact that it's such a narrow handle as well and so small. I want to say that this is on caged bearings, but the more I use it and feel it, I just don't think it is. I want to say I can almost see the reflection of a piece of bronze in there, so I want to say this is on phosphor bronze bearings, or I'm sorry, phosphor bronze washers. Weight-wise, it's actually coming in fairly light. It does have a skeletonized steel. Actually, you know what? That is not skeletonized, and that I remember now. Okay, so this is a liner lock that is not skeletonized, and it feels heavy in the hand, but at the same time, it's not. And so I think this is coming in at like 2.5 ounces, surprisingly, but we'll see if I'm right. Let's see where we're at here. Oh, okay, 2.655 ounces. So just over, I was close, just over 2.5 ounces on this knife, which is kind of surprising considering that these are just stainless steel liners here with no skeletization at all. I also like that there's very minimal branding. I guess this is, the shield here is the brand of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because I know that I would get that wrong, but there's the brand, the maker, the designer there. It's his like brand shield, I guess, and that's where they came up with that. And then it's got the 20 CV on the other side, and then it's got the benchmade logo. So it's not, you know, plastered with everything all over the blade. I've seen some blades that have really poor marketing choices, in my opinion. And yeah, like I said, it's something that I would definitely carry to like a wedding or something like that, but not something I'd carry every day. And then we're going to go ahead and do a hardware check here real quick. And we're also going to do a blade stock thickness measurement here. So we're going to try this one real quick. And I want to say all the pivot is going to be, no, it's not. Okay, so the pivot is going to be T8 and the pins are going to be, oh, sorry, the pins are going to be T6. So I don't really like T6 pins in the back, or I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep calling them pins, T6 screws in the back. I don't really prefer those because they're generally easier stripped, but you know, most companies put them in their knives at least for the pocket clips or some point, so it's not something that I can complain about a lot. Overall, I think it's a great knife for a certain situation. Personally, it's not something that I would carry every day. Definitely still something that I would have in my collection. And the last thing I want to say about this is that they do also have a very nice version of this that comes in Dana steel with this, I think it's an Odin drop pattern. It is extremely gorgeous. And then they have this like frost back spacer instead of the pinstripe here. It is one of the most gorgeous knives that I've ever seen, but it's like $900. I actually almost considered purchasing it just because of how gorgeous it was, but once I had this one in hand and realized it just wasn't for me, that's why I didn't end up getting it at the end of the day. But yeah, so it's a really nice knife. If you guys have the money or the means to get it, I would definitely suggest doing so because it'd be the pride of your collection, I'm sure, with as pretty as it is. But getting into the blade stock thickness here as the last thing, we're gonna go ahead and do a blade stock measurement, and it's gonna come in at 0.1225 for the overall blade stock thickness. And then just behind the edge here, we're gonna go ahead and, like I said, it's not very slicey. It's coming in at 490 thousandths of an inch. I've generally said in a lot of my videos that if it's under 500 thousandths of an inch, it can be slicey depending on the geometry of the grind when you sharpen your blade. But anything over that 500 thousandths of an inch it kind of starts getting hard for those blades to be slicey, even at any geometry, really. So this is borderline that, and this is, like I said, not very slicey. But overall, it's definitely something that I would consider taking out on the town, or if you were in a suit, something that I would definitely suggest wearing. And it doesn't have any pocket clips or lanyard points, hence the nice little leather sheath that they give you here with the knife, but it sits well in the pocket and it's not too heavy, so it doesn't weigh your pockets down. That's it for the review today, guys. Thanks for coming over and checking out the Tengu Flipper with me. Now we're going to get back over to the desktop setup so we can finish up this video. Alrighty guys, well that's it for today's review. If you found any of this information at all informative, like I said earlier, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications to get notified when I put out new videos every 2 weeks, hopefully coming soon every week again. And other than that, that's it for today, guys. Stay safe, stay sharp, and stay creative, my friends. We need more of that in this world. Have a great night.